Good day to you all. This is the GTM AI podcast. Episode number 29 with Mac Reddin, the CEO and co-founder of Commsor, who gives his spicy take on being a self-professed AI skeptic and how humans still have an edge in the AI world we live in. This is sponsored by the GTM AI Academy, your go-to source for learning how to use AI in companies, teams, and in your individual workflow. Business impact over learning tools.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Coach K, and I am really excited to have my man on with me, Mac Reddin. How are you, my friends?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I'm good. Thank you. You and I have been connected on LinkedIn for a while, so I see your posts. I see your sister's posts. You are the, how I like to say, let's go to your official title as we go to the LinkedIn page, El Rey de Dinos of Commsor, which I don't speak Spanish. What in the world is that even? What does that mean?
The king of the dinos, basically.
The king of the dinos. I love it. So technically your official title of Commsor is?
Founder and CEO.
Founder and CEO.
Sidebar. Are you really the CEO when it's like a 14-person company? But that's a
Let's go with it. I like it. Why not? If it makes you feel powerful, let's do it. But that's why I like El Rey de Dinos, which is good.
Much
more accurate. I've been loving your posts. I follow you and your sister both for Commsor. I love what you're both are about and what you're trying to create. And interesting enough, a lot of people I have come on, we were just talking about this, are either people who are steeped in AI usage or are founders of AI particular products or technology. And yours is, as you said before, the anti-AI. Because if no one doesn't know, Commsor is your go-to network platform. So what I'd love to do is go through the things about you that are not on LinkedIn. I'd love to have you just tell us more about you and your journey to where you are, because you have a fascinating background being the founder of the community club, doing a bunch of stuff before that. So I'd like to know like where and then how in the heck did you get to Commsor and doing what you're doing?
I mean, the short answer is I have no idea. I guess the honest answer is I started a company accidentally. I was 17, built on top of Minecraft of all things. Basically used Minecraft as a game engine and built one place where people could play the games we were making and bootstrapped that to about 12 employees. I was like 17, 18, 19. No idea what I was doing. Like hiring people, firing people, building a business. I was going to my dad and I was like, what do I do with how do I hire someone? Like figuring it out. Ended up dropping out of college and working on that full time. And long story short, I got the founder bug, if you will. Like I've never had a normal job. I've been a founder and now I'm stuck on that path. I'm ruined forever. I would be a terrible employee. I built that company for about 4 years, got lucky enough to sell it, worked for the company I sold it to for 5 months and realized very quickly I wanted to go back to building stuff. Long story short, I started a clothing company, ended up shutting that down, started 2 or 3 other companies. One succeeded, the classic, the other ones didn't. And then Commsor actually started as a hackathon project. No intention of it being a business, no intention of raising VC money. Didn't think I would still be working on it 4 years later. So a lot of it comes down to, I just like building things. And this time around, I happened to build a thing that I just think has bigger potential than anything I've ever built before. It's just to build things and put them out there and eventually something connected.
I love hearing it. And you were doing this with your sister. She's the co-founder with you. Is that correct?
Not a co-founder, but like employee number 3. So
number 3,
I was like, I think it was number 4 actually. But it doesn't
matter. I
had
to have her around and she's good with sales, so whatever.
She's great at sales. And I was the early days, like complaining about like sales and like first time selling to B2B and yada, yada. We were at a family dinner. She was complaining about her job. I was complaining about sales. I just said, I was like, do you want to just come do sales with me? And she was, yes, I hate my job, and quit her job the next day. And so it was definitely not planned. It was just like a right timing for both of us to jump into business together.
I love it. Some people say not to do business with your family, but I grew up in a family business, and I can agree to that to an extent, but there's also parts about working with family that is a lot of fun because you get to work with the strengths of people in ways you don't usually get to in just family environment. So I love that you're doing that. That's awesome.
I feel like I get 2 reactions of people. I get the, oh my God, I could never do that. And I get the, oh my God, I'm so jealous you get to do that. You can tell what their relationship is with their siblings based on their reaction.
I know, right? Okay. I know a lot about you now.
Yep.
Yeah. Tell me this, like for those who are unaware of Commsor, give me the spiel. What is Commsor? And then we're going to dive into AI stuff, which is be fun. But give me the spiel.
Short version, we help you basically activate your company's network to drive pipeline, drive revenue. What I mean by that is basically companies come to us, they bring in their investors, their advisors, their executives, their top customers, their partners, influencers they're working with, and we help map out who those people know. So going beyond just the LinkedIn connection. And then essentially what we really sell, and I really simplify it, is we sell a warm intro check. If you got a lead list, before you make the cold calls, before you send the cold emails, is there someone in your company's network who could help open that door for you? We help identify that and then facilitate the process of making it happen.
So you're almost productizing the dark social concept, pretty much. I just understand.
At least parts of it. I think dark social
Parts
is
of
like a really messy, deep, dark web that
it
you know,
is, yeah.
But yes, parts of it, like we're helping companies create more intentional word of mouth in a lot of ways. With like a lot of times I love the example of everybody's trying to build a referral program in B2B right now. But the way it works is like, hey, Jonathan, you're a fan of our product. I'll pay you $1,000 if you refer someone. Please refer someone. And I sit back and I hope you do it. And maybe you don't, whatever. With Commsor, I can go, hey, Jonathan, I can see that Katrina really well. Can you make that referral? It's like very subtle shift, but the data and the information lets you make it an intentional ask and action versus just a thing that happens when it happens.
Yeah, I love that. So weirdly enough, you're on this GTM go-to-market AI podcast. So this obviously revolves around AI tech, AI products. But today, before we started, say, again, you're the anti-AI because you're all about the relationship, which is there's no AI in between the humans. So what I'm curious is your thoughts around where you think things are right now and why Commsor works. What do you see Commsor being the thing that AI doesn't cover? I guess that's the question I'd ask.
Yeah, I think ironically, the more the rest of the market pushes down the AI path, I feel like the better it is for us.
Yeah.
Because I feel like AI to me feels a lot like, now I was not old enough to be a professional at this point, but AI feels a lot like the dot-com bubble to me, right? Internet was new. People poured money into it. This is the future. This is the future. And then, oops, not quite yet. We're not quite ready. And then it was like, took another 9 years. And my favorite example is like pets.com burned through $800 million, lasted 3 years. Poof. 9 years later, you get like chewy.com and now they're like an $11 billion business. So like the idea wasn't bad. The timing and the maturity of the technology was bad. Yeah. And I feel like that's what AI feels a lot like right now. It's like a lot of VC money pouring into it. Everyone's saying, this is the future. This is the future. But when you really dig into the results, I don't know, a lot of them are subpar. I think there's a lot of great AI results, but a lot of at least I feel like it's shoved down my throat in the sales and marketing world is like AI for the sake of AI versus AI for the sake of problem solving. And I think it's inevitable. The never ending march of technology is inevitable throughout human history. So it will get there. It will do what is promised. But I feel like the description on the box, if you will, for AI doesn't quite match what's actually inside the box when you open it a lot of times.
What's interesting about this is that I feel like the more I use AI, the more it brings out my human abilities, which is like better communication and more critical thinking and more creativity and all this other stuff that I couldn't do before. But I think there's also wisdom behind you saying around understanding where AI does its best work and then when it doesn't. And one thing I've appreciated more than anything is just, I told this to teams when they do their prospecting. I'm like, I know you need to have some help doing research and personalizing and blah, blah, all this stuff, but there's nothing yet can beat you actually going to someone's LinkedIn page and looking through their stuff and seeing what resonates with you and then saying to that person, hey, me, and not the AI, but me, I really like this thing. I'd love to talk with you about whatever. It's that connection that AI, I hope, never replaces.
I think the other problem there is if every seller increasingly has access to the same AI tools to do the same research and the same personalization, does the value of that approach zero? Because it's like the reason why personalization used to work really was because not a lot of people did it. So it showed you went the extra mile, it made you stand out. I saw a tool recently I forget what it's called, but it uses AI where you put in someone's LinkedIn profile or name, it'll find podcasts they've been on. And it'll personalize an email for you based on, hey, Mac, I saw you were on the GTM AI podcast and you mentioned this thing. 2-3 years ago, that was an incredible way to stand out in the inbox. But now I actually like these AI tools. I get 2 or 3 emails a week or more that are like, they're referencing the same moment in the same podcast. And so now my like 6 senses are going, up, sales email, delete, up, sales email, delete. Cause it's like the reason these strategies have worked in the past is because it made it not feel like a sales email. As soon as it becomes a pattern, it feels like a sales message and your brain just goes,
And then you're out.
never mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Super interesting. What's funny about you say about AI being .com, I agree with you to an extent. Like, I almost feel like as well that it's like electricity where everyone's, hey, we have electricity. And then now everyone has electricity. So it's not really that unique. What's going to be unique though is how it gets applied to whatever technology someone has and the results that someone has. I found this really interesting video where someone's talking about how we're going to go from SaaS to RaaS, which is results as a service versus just software, because the more AI can do certain tasks, the more that people are really going to pay for is just results, which is one reason why, again, I love the concept around Commsor, because it's more about your results, the job to be done. It's just the connection between relationships and people.
Yeah.
to
I
get
think
the job done. You know?
one problem with results as a service is I think people forget how much of success with a tool relies on the person using it and not the tool itself. Right. So that's why it's hard for companies to sell results as a service, because suddenly, as soon as you give your product to another person, you are no longer in control of the results, at least not fully. So it's a really interesting and challenging dynamic. I think there's certain products that makes a lot of sense, but I also think that the thing with AI, I love the quote. Did you see it was Parker Conrad from Rippling? They raised $800 million a few months ago. They're kicking ass. They're doing like $1 billion in revenue. And one of the questions he was asked in an interview was like, what's your AI strategy? And I think he said something that was like, I don't think people really, at the end of the day, actually want to chat with their HR software. As I think it starts to feel a lot like CGI, right? Where it's like the best CGI movies, you don't even notice it's CGI, right? It's there. And you notice it's CGI and you're like, oh, wow, that was really bad. Like it pulled me out of the movie. And now I'm noticing the CGI versus feeling immersed. And I feel like a lot of the AI implementations right now feel like bad CGI. It's like chatbot slapped on your product, chatbot slapped on your product. And you're like, it's so obviously in your face as like a separate thing. Whereas like the best AI examples I've seen fade into the background. Like you don't even notice they're like we use a fair amount of AI in our product, actually, like measuring relationship strength, predicting things, etc. But we don't be like, here is the Commsor Dino bot you can talk to for, it's like, because that's not actually what AI is, but people have conflated like smart chatbot with AI.
Yeah. I think that's part of the challenge with the whole, I don't know if you call it a bubble, but around people's education around AI, because AI is much more than just a chatbot. It's like like what you said, it's like either scoring or analytics or all these things that come into it that have nothing to do with chatting with it. It just gives you more intelligence on the data you may have at your disposal. So now you sparked and you brought up AI. Like, tell me about how you guys actually use AI. Tell me more about this relationship thing, how you use AI for it.
That's one of the core, I don't know, magic parts of our platform, right? Like how often have you done something or has someone asked you and they're like, hey, Jonathan, I saw you're connected to Mac on LinkedIn. Can you make an intro? And you're like, no, I have no idea why I'm connected to Mac. Like I have 10,000 connections. I don't know. One of the core things that we've spent a lot of time solving is trying to figure that out. So we have this thing in the product called connection strength, where we're trying to model, do Mac and Jonathan know each other well enough that they could actually make an intro to each other? Not just they're connected on LinkedIn. And we use some basic stuff that's not AI. For example, my connection strength will go up with you because of this call, for example. If we were DMing a bunch and things like that, but we also use it a little bit to start to look for patterns and try to do like more predictive stuff. Like do Mac and Jonathan know each other or various things?
Which is what AI is, predictive analytics. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not, that's the thing is, right? It's also only as good as the stuff you train it on and the stuff you feed it. And that's sidebar. One of the problems with sales AI is like, okay, human SDRs have been failing for 5 years. So we've trained a bunch of AIs on the content that SDRs have been sending, but hasn't really been working. So now, yes, my AI can write a shit ton of emails and do it better and faster, but it's still fundamentally the type of content buyers don't respond to. So you're just doing more of the bad stuff faster. Okay. But so yeah, we use a bunch of AI on the back end, more from like a data perspective of managing data, connecting data, predicting it. But there's no AI chatbot in our tool you can talk to. We don't talk about AI features. It's more of like a back end tool for our engineers to like, our engineering team's 4 people. It's a tiny team. So it lets them like offboard some work there. We also use AI. Like, I like the point you said of AI being like making you actually better at the human element. The times I have most found AI useful for me have been where I treat it as almost like a second brain, like a sparring partner. Right? I'm not expecting it to do results for me. I'm not like, hey, AI, write an email for me. But it's, oh my God, I'm trying to launch a new podcast. I can't think of a name. Hey, AI, can you generate some ideas? 99.9% of the time, I'm not taking the idea they give me. But it's like the classic case. I had a teacher in middle school who used to say, there's no such thing as a bad idea. You should always share bad ideas because it might inspire a great idea.
Mhm.
Most of my AI success personally using it has been the AI gives me an okay idea, but that triggers my brain to go, oh no, but if I tweak it, now it's a good idea. So
Totally.
it's a critical thinking partner, not a solve the problem for me partner.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way with you. I have brainstorms at 1 o'clock in the morning with AI. 'Cause I'm like, ooh, and it's just someone I can bounce ideas off of and criticize the ideas and come across different ways. And anyways, I've had some huge ahas in my own thinking process, more of because I'm able to just, like you said, spar mentally with a different person. What I'd love to talk about though is like when it comes to, because if you guys come down to it, it's all about the relationship and knowing how strong the relationship is or not. Where do
Yep.
you see, we'll go two sides with this. Where do you see AI hurting that, which is probably pretty easy, but also where do you see AI potentially helping that?
Oh, I have lots of thoughts. It's as far as hurting, that's obvious. I think the classic example anyone on LinkedIn sees right now is like the AI comments, right? Where you're like, hey, dude,
I know.
this engagement is actually, you are not achieving the relationship that you think it's achieving. Like, I know, like, I literally just today, like just before this call, I wrote a post about like our NDR playbook and I wrote a question at the end being like, hey, what playbook do you want to see our team do next? And I got a comment that was like, felt like a reasonable comment. Then at the end, it just they repeated the same question. What feedback, what playbook do you think would be most valuable next? And a person would not have written this comment, right?
Yeah.
This is written by AI. And it's actually a person that I know pretty well. And my reaction to reading that is like, oh, come on, man. Like you're using AI to engage with me. That's hurting the
Yeah.
relationship now. That's hurting my experience with you as a person. I think this drive right now to basically use an AI as a replacement is that just kills relationships. Right? I don't want to talk to your AI version. Like I see these influencers selling, you can talk to an AI bot version of me. And I'm like, I don't want to pay to talk to an AI version of you. I'm going to spend
Yeah.
money to talk to you. I want to talk to you. This is weird. Like that like weird parasocial, like uncanny valleyness is just not beneficial. Where it can help, I do think there's some cool examples of using AI to almost be like a personal assistant to remind you to stay on top of relationships, things like that. And there's been good examples of that. I think Sendoso has done a cool thing of they have their AI to suggest gifts for people when you don't quite know them. There's some cool stuff there. But I think it comes back to what I said before. It's like AI should be your assistant, your replacement. And as soon as it's used as a replacement in relationships, oof, good luck.
I always think of it like where I see direction going personally, and where I hope we go is more like the Jarvis Iron Man direction, because like the when you see him interact with this advanced AI, like having something like that's conversational enough and knows your personality well enough to actually joke around with you, but get the shit done you need to get done, and then do the calculations that I know Tony Stark in the movies could do himself. He's like, just do this for calculation because I
Yeah.
don't have the energy or time to do it myself. Having that kind of partner and then complimenting him expands his mind to where he could create and do things in ways that he couldn't have done before. And
Yeah.
that's how I see AI going in general, whether it's
But
no matter
that's like
output.
general AI, right? I think
Yeah.
people want AI as it currently is to be general AI so badly that they're almost delusional. It's I don't know where you stand on Elon Musk and Tesla, but it's you look at these Cybertruck stuff, right? And it's like the Cybertruck is objectively like a bad car. It keeps breaking, it's having delivery issues, it falls apart, but people want it to be a good car so badly. Like
Yeah.
I saw a Twitter thread recently, a guy bought the car and he was complaining about the issue, and people go, "Yeah, it's a bad car. You should return it. You should complain." No, it's like he'd almost gotten himself to the point of delusion over the car was broken, wasn't working, it was having errors, but he was like, "But." He said, "But I want it to be a cool car so badly." And it's like, you're not seeing the forest for the trees anymore. And some of the people I see that are like the biggest proponents of AI, they're treating AI like it's general AI, which also leads to this bad marketing problem. So then if you're posting about how awesome AI is and how like it is general AI, someone goes, holy shit, AI can be Jarvis. And they go to use it and they're like, this is very far from being Jarvis right
Yeah.
now. And then you get back to that .com bubble issue of you're actually over marketing it and you're actually hurting people's first experiences with it because you're not matching expectations properly.
I saw this really interesting journey, so to speak, of AI, where this guy put this map of you first get oh, this is awesome, and then you're like, oh, this sucks, and they're like, oh, because you have to go through this journey of where do you actually use it? Because, like you said, if people are pie in the sky about AI, then people expect more than what it actually can do, and they get disillusioned because of the lack of results. But at the same time, it's like I would also say that based on how people use AI, which is something I talk a lot about, is like the results you get are directly attached to how you prompt and communicate, which goes back to how well of a communicator you are as a person. So I just find it fascinating how willing or not people are to actually do the things they need to do to get the good results they need to get, because it's not just instantaneous.
Yeah, it's like it still takes work. I think like, too many people
Yeah.
are trying to position AI. It'll do the job for you, right? You see these LinkedIn posts. Here's how I made $50,000 last month using just ChatGPT, and you're like, shut the fuck up. Stop. Just stop. Like you are now the Web3 scammer who previously that was like
Yeah.
the hustle porn scammer who before that was the drop shipping scammer. But this is human nature, right? You look at, is drop shipping a bad business? No, there's some good examples of it. Did humans take it and just twist it into something it shouldn't be? Yep. Is like working really hard and hustling a bad thing? No. Did people take it and twist it into something that it shouldn't be? Yep. Same thing with Web3, same thing with the internet, same thing
Yeah.
with AI. And it's sometimes hard. My concern with it is that the average person isn't deeply enough involved in it to be able to make that critical thinking decision on their own. They just say, holy shit, Mac made $50,000 last month with AI. I'm going to buy his fucking course. And you're like, oh my God, no. Oh, you are the reason why AI is going to get held back by 10 years.
Yeah. So let's dive in more to what you suggest
Yeah.
doing. Because AI, I'll tell you like this, I have the same experience every time I post an update around the newsletter. Every time I get some random person with some random thing like, I'm so excited about the AI updates. I'll read, I can't wait. I'm like, who are you? And why are you commenting this weird AI update comment? That's like you said,
Yeah.
no human would actually talk to me that way. And if they did, I'm like, then get out of this is not anyways, it drives me crazy. But what I want to hear though is like how, when you're talking about relationships and building it, what are specific things you say? This is how you, in your view as Commsor CEO, this is how you see using AI is actually a benefit to a relationship.
It's a tough one because I think so much of what happens in relationships happens outside of a space that AI has access to. And I know people are trying to build like the thing you can wear that records your conversations, but that gets into a whole different issue of like privacy and
Privacy
weirdness. And
yeah.
also that's not legal in a whole bunch of states in the US, let alone let's not even touch Europe
Right.
on that front,
Totally.
right? And I think it's at the end of the day, relationships happen because people care, people trust, and people show value. And I think so I've used AI in the past for some stuff where I'm like, I'll store notes on people and have AI search it for me. What was that thing I spoke with Jonathan about 6 months ago? Because I don't remember, whatever.
Yeah.
But I still have to put the human work in to know what to care about, right? To actually, I have to care enough about a relationship with you to keep the note so that in a year it's search. And yes, when it's a Zoom call, it could be recorded by Gong and searched for you automatically or recorded by whatever. But our relationships don't all happen on Zoom, right? That's the problem. So I don't know a good example right now of AI being used to help maintain relationships. Like you can use it for reminders, you can use it to search stuff for you, but that to me is that's not relationship building. That's not connection building. If it's my AI and your AI talking to each other, like that's not I don't care how much they're getting along with each other. That's not a relationship. That's not an authentic connection. So I think it goes back to the Jarvis example of the AI is being inserted into the relationship. Like between you and me, it's being used wrong. If the AI is an assistant behind me whispering in my ear to help me, that's the path that it has to go down to actually be beneficial.
I was going to bring up a situation because I agree with you. It's more about augmenting, not substituting, which literally I have a post coming on Thursday is about this topic because it drives me crazy. Because what I want to see on LinkedIn is more of the people that I follow, more of them. I don't want to see more of AI drivel. I want to see more of what they think. And I love when someone's able to be efficient and use AI to do more of what they think, but I want to hear more of what AI thinks. But I'll give you an
That's also
example
the
of like,
danger, right? If we're all using AI to tell you what you think, we all sound the same.
yeah, we're all
It
saying the same
all
shit.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have a friend of mine who's a pescatarian. And when she told me, I was like, I'm not quite, I know what roundabout what that is, but I don't know what that is. So give the example of how I use AI to build a relationship. So she told me that her and the team came into town, they wanted to go eat. So I'm like, okay, what does pescatarians eat? Want to make sure it's their diet, we know what's going on. Found the best rated for pescatarianism people of the restaurants in town. Went and got a thing. I knew what the menu was already. I said, hey, you should get this. Like I did research that augmented or complemented the actual relationship to show that I actually did research, which is something I would have done before, but would have taken me longer because I would have had to do
Yeah.
it
That's
without an
once
AI
again,
system.
that's the behind you, helping
So
you assistant versus inserting.
right. And I think that's where like you said, when AI is in the middle, like I heard, was it Bumble or maybe it was Match? I can't remember what it was. One of the
They're
dating
doing like
sites.
the AI goes on the date for you.
Yeah, on the persona for you. I'm like, what? It's okay, but at the same time, it's like I don't know if I would trust my AI to if I was single, which I'm not. But if I don't know if I trust my AI to jive with another
That
AI.
comes back again as like people are expecting you to act like a perfect general AI copy of you. Like they
Yeah,
want it's I think honestly, most AI I've seen right now is a fun gimmick. And that's what it is, right? It's still has potential. Like I was messing around the other day with, have you used Suno before?
hmm,
I don't know if you saw this, but I actually posted over the weekend. I had used AI to generate lyrics for a song about Go to Network and then used Suno to generate a song. I'm like, yeah, it was cool. It was fun for a little LinkedIn post. It was fun,
yep,
but it reminds me of things like Cameo or like a singing birthday card, right? It's a fun gimmick. It made some people laugh. Is it really going to is it going to right now replace, am I a talented musician because I can generate a song with AI? Not really. I think if you look at where the world is trending right now in the entertainment industry specifically, it's more about the people, right? Like the biggest chocolate brand in the world now is Feastables because of Mr. Beast behind it. Not because could someone have used AI to generate that, make the packaging? Did he use it? Maybe, sure. But are people buying it because of that? No, they're buying it actually because of the human connection, right? You look at individual YouTubers are surpassing large team shows and productions and doing it on a shoestring budget. They're probably using AI to help them. But at the end of the day, they're using it to help them. It's the person in front of the camera that's creating the connection with them that people are getting attached to.
yeah, totally. What I find fascinating, this is coming from both the music world and from the part of me that was going to be a counselor at one point in time, is when you're able to use it in ways that actually can help as like a debrief. Like I'll give you an example. I work with this team that does have they use the new 4.0 update with a chatbot thing and they actually use it with some parts of their counseling process. If someone goes through an AI role play for sales, but it's more for counseling, and it doesn't replace the counselor, but it more complements saying, okay, we're going to take you through this exercise where you walk through this thing with an AI, and then they go through another exercise afterwards with the counselor. It's fascinating. And the results they're getting is just awesome. You said, though, it's not the total replacement of a counselor, it's complementing therapy that is counselor based. Does that make sense? Which
Yeah.
is really cool how they do it. And I look forward to the world to where that balance between the human side and the AI side is really honed in. Because, like you said, I think right now, some people, not mentioning names, lean a little bit too much more on the AI side to its supposed goodness, and instead of really looking at the balance between the two. So I just find it fascinating. And as a
Yeah. I mean,
musician,
also, there's also
yeah,
the broader piece here of just there is like a loneliness epidemic. There is a lack of human connection epidemic. And
yeah,
I know, right? Part of me is just if you look at human nature, the unfortunate is, especially when it comes to like B2B sales and marketing, if a tool can be abused, it will be abused. That's just look at email, great tool. Email sequencing, great. Did salespeople beat the shit out of it and run it into the ground? Absolutely, they did. Are they going to do the same thing with AI SDRs until it stops working? Oh, you bet. If it'll book the meetings this quarter, they don't give a shit when it applies for a year from now or 2 years from now. And there's definitely a part of me that's like a little pessimistic about AI right now. Of it's going to turn us into
I
Wall-E
couldn't
people.
tell that at all, Mac.
It, I know it's funny. And I say that as someone who's, I'm an introvert. I'm not a hugely social person. Like I'm the kid who in high school was like, I would pretend to be sick if I had to speak in front of the class for a presentation.
Right.
So now I'm advocating for, hey, like maybe we should be a bit more human. Like if you asked me 10 years ago, it doesn't fit me at all. Just like any tool, that's what it is. It's a tool. Like this is going to be a bit of a dark analogy. I'm trying to think of one that's not as dark, but like the knife, the invention of the knife, that's a great tool.
Yeah.
Being able to cut things, cut down trees. Did humans also take the knife and go, you know what else I can do with this thing? I can fuck a bunch of shit up in one go. Yeah, they did. And it's like, my concern is that even if 99% of people are like, yep, I'm going to use AI the right way, there is always going to be the group who will see it as an advantage for them, who will abuse it. And I just think that the potential for abuse with AI as it continues to develop is so much greater than any other tool we've had at our fingertips as individuals in human history that it's just, yes, it's awesome. There's so many cool things you can do with it. And yes, I'm not saying AI is going to destroy the world. Actually, human nature using AI is the problem, which is also ironic, right? And it's an interesting balance. And my message to teams and individuals is just use it as a tool, but be aware of the long-term impacts, not just the short term. People love to look at things that are like going to help them this quarter or this month. And they don't think about what about a year from now? What about 2 years from now? Like it's always this like really short-term mindset.
One thing I appreciate about the market in general, because it is human based, is that the market usually corrects itself, like email sequencing and all that kind of stuff. It shifts pretty quickly, which is good. Um, Last thing I want to do this is hopefully end on a more of a positive note. But
Yeah, sorry. I
no,
know your
no, it's
audience
good.
is AI, and I'm like the anti person here.
No, I love and I appreciate the different point of view because I think this is an important topic to talk about with the like what you just said to me is gold of like when AI becomes between you and I, that's when I would agree with you is not the place to put it. But when AI is complimenting me or powering me or propelling me forward and actually helping the connection by not getting in the way, but like we just talked about, like my friend is pescatarian, that kind of thing, that's where it becomes powerful, in my opinion. Let's end with
Yeah.
this though, of like it might be a weird way to end positive, but I'm going to do it anyways. What do you, being Mr. Anti AI, what do you actually use AI for right now in as founder?
I use ChatGPT as a sparring partner to send it ideas and flesh things out and take raw things and help shape them a bit more. I've definitely messed with AI, music generation, and image generation. Not a huge fan of the image generation piece. They all look the same, but that's a
I need to
separate
teach you some
problem.
things because there's ways around that, but keep
I
going.
know there's always around it, but there's still, I
The
don't know.
feeling?
It's like we have a full-time illustrator on our team. So
Yeah.
I'm really like, and it's like, there's such a thing to it, and I trial into AI tools, right? Someone's like, try this, try that. I try them out. I've been trying out like an AI video tool where I kind of record a video once and edit the beginning part. And it's pretty good. The results are okay, but there is still a slight like uncanny valley of it's not the same as doing it manually. Yes, it's easier, but so yeah, I use it as a sparring partner rather than a shortcut. I think is the best way to think about it. I think also the big role, I knew you like your pescatarian example. My issue with using it as like a search channel is that it's wrong often enough that I'm always skeptical. Like it's not, it's not always wrong. It's right a lot of the time, but it's always like, there's always like this slight, like, I still have to go Google this to make sure the AI is right. Like feeling behind a lot of stuff. Um, so I would say I'm more in the mindset of I've tried every AI tool that comes across my desk. I try everything. I love experimenting with it. I love whether it's for sales and marketing or it's just for personal use. I love trying new technology and I hope it works in the way that it's supposed to. But the honest answer is there is no tool that I would say I use right now where I use AI as a daily tool. I'm like, yep, I always use this tool for this thing.
Let's dive into the sparring partner thing. Give me, and then let's kind of we'll end with this because I think this would be fascinating. Give me an example of how you use AI to spar with and what kind of results you get out of it.
Yeah, I said it earlier a bit, but we're working on like a new podcast thing at Commsor, and I was like, I cannot think of a good name idea. Man, this is killing me. So I went to ChatGPT and I was like, hey, like I'm trying to make a podcast. Here's what it's about. Here's the idea. Can you generate 20 names for me? And it gave me 20 names, and I was like, these are really weirdly long. These shorter names. Like, I don't want a 17-word title for a pod. What the hell is this shit? And it gave me a bunch, and I didn't use any of the ones it gave me. But one of the ones on the second pass, I was like, oh, actually, if I replace that word, actually, that's a pretty cool podcast, right? It just inspired the idea. So that's like me as like a sparring partner where I'm like, I have an unformed idea. Like maybe AI can jog the idea a bit further. Like it's not necessarily going to solve it for me, but it's if I feed a bunch of stuff into it, it's almost like it's helped me see the forest for the trees. Is the best way to put it. Where it's like,
Cool.
It's like it's the same effect I think of like when you like if you're trying to solve a problem, you take a break and you go for a walk, and then your brain solves it. And like the subconscious, it's almost like accelerating the subconscious of just spit shit back at me that's relevant, and it'll get my brain going essentially.
I love it, man. Before we go, Commsor, COMSOR.com is the website,
That's
which
the
I
one.
love. And what and how is the best way to get in touch with you if someone wants to talk to you?
Send me a message on LinkedIn. Mac Reddin. I think I'm the only Mac Reddin on LinkedIn. Last I checked.
Pretty sure you
until
are.
the
I mean,
imposters show
I
up.
haven't searched.
If there's a dinosaur emoji, you found the right one. Or
I love it.
just send me an email. I'm always happy to chat with folks as long as whatever. So mac@commsor.com, they can send me an email. I look, if someone has an AI tool they're working on and they want to prove me wrong, that they have figured out the AI tool I should use every day that I would use every day, I would love to hear about it. I would love to be proven wrong. Like it's not because I'm going into this hoping to be right. It's more just that's the experience I've had so far.
Yeah, I get it. As a literally daily user of a lot of different tools of AI, like we could probably have a good, interesting chat about that. But again, the way I use
well,
it
after
and
this,
the way
send me your top 3 after this. I'd be super curious.
oh man, there are probably ones you won't be surprised with, but a lot of it though is, how do I say this? Like the points you're saying, I think are still relevant. Like for example, having a critical mind. I never accept what AI gives me at the very end. I'm very critical with AI output, which is again the human side of critical thinking. Do I actually legit think this? But there's a lot of nuggets that even though You may think of yourself as an anti-AA person. They're all healthy, good things to have.
Yeah, I wouldn't call myself, I would say I'm an AI skeptic, not an anti-AA person is the best way to put it. Like,
Yeah, which is good.
yeah. And I think it, like that, it goes back to what I said before. I feel people want it to be a silver bullet so badly that
Yeah.
they're skipping the skeptic phase sometimes.
Yes, I really agree with you. But first off, I just want to say, Mac, thank you. Fascinating discussion. Love what you're doing. Love what you're talking about.
Appreciate it.
And I'll make sure everyone gets your stuff and blast your connections all over the place. And hopefully you won't get too many AI generated messages to connect with you.
As long as it's AI generated about a dinosaur, then hey,
Who cares?
easy
It's
peasy.
dinosaur.
Let's
We're
go.
good. I love it. Thanks, my man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the GTM AI podcast. Please follow, subscribe, like, comment, and come back for more.